Alright, so let's do one practical example explaining that page object model. So for that, I am picking one of my test case which we have done in our previous lectures. For example, let's take this test, basics. Here, we are hard coding objects in our test case only. Okay, till last lecture, we have hard coded each and every object in our own test case. But so let's assume that for every test case, you have to click on preference and then start with other validations. So to say in simple word that you need this step in every test case. Let's assume that, okay? And tomorrow this object got changed. What you will do? There are 100 test cases using this step and this object got changed. So you will go to each and every test case and update this in 100 places. So that is not a right design when you are building a framework. So we will place this object in one file and all our 100 test cases will point to that one file only if they want to get this object. Okay, all of our test cases will get this object from that file only. And tomorrow if something changes, I will just update that file so that automatically all my 100 test cases, as they are referring to that file, they will also get updated. Okay, I need not come and change anything in test case. So that's the reason generally people say that you should not hard code anything in test cases. Okay, now let us see how can we define page objects in separate file and what are the methods available from Appium to utilize that concept. Okay, so for that let me create one package. Okay, so I would say it as page objects. Page objects, and I will define new class in that page object like part 1, something like that. Okay, so basically the concept here, how do we define objects? Okay, let me show you one example. If you go to our app, API demos, so now this is one page, right? So if you want to access any object from this page, either it could be accessibility, animation, content, preferences, anything. So all the objects from one page we will define in one Java class file. Okay, so let me write the notes here. All the objects belonging to one page will be defined in one Java class. So this is our Java class. So let me rename it as with this page name, API demos home page, right? So I would tell this as, it is refactor home page. Nice. Okay, so now when you want to define hardware, content, media, and if your test case come across clicking on this, define your objects here. So the reason why you have to follow this pattern, like all the objects belonging to one page should be one separate class. So tomorrow if you want to define the objects from preferences, this is preferences window, right? So you will create one more Java class and you will write all the objects belonging to this page into that class. Okay, so in that way every page have its own object repository. Okay, so this is really useful because tomorrow when something fails, someone will come and say you that, hey, something went wrong in preferences page. So if you have only one Java file and if you define all the page objects here, in real time when you are working, you might have some thousands of page objects, right? And if you define everything in one page, if someone asks you to change something, you have to go through whole that 1000 page objects to find that right one. But here, if you define and if you divide each page objects into separate Java classes, and if someone says something failed on preferences home page, you will directly go to that Java class and access it immediately. Isn't it? That keep you more maintainable code. Rather than writing everything in one single file, we will divide that based upon the page. That's why this concept we say as page object mechanism. Okay, so let me create one more class and say preferences. Yeah, this could be preferences page. So we have created two Java class files, and after clicking on preferences, if I click on dependencies, you will reach this dependencies page, right? So I'll create one more page object for dependencies. I have still not defined any code inside. We will define after completing this hierarchy. Alright, so now you have three Java class files. So first thing first, so if you go to your code, this belongs to home page preferences, right? So this is nothing but it clicks on this element. So this object belongs to home page, so that I will define this object in the home page class. Okay, first for that, at the rate Android, let me write the code and explain you what does it do. Find by, and here basics, it's an X path, right? So let me copy this part. Yeah, X path equals to, yeah, I'm sorry, not here, code should start. Okay, so here you will define public and give that name of return type. Return type is web element, right? Web element, and what is the name you want to give for this object? Let's say as preferences. Alright, so let's move our cursor and import this one, page factory. Okay, select this, and you have to also import web element. Alright, so what is meant by these two steps? Okay, when you write like this, Appium by default create method like this, find element by dot by xpath, and this one. So this we are breaking into this fashion. Okay, so same step we are actually writing like this. So you might get doubt, why can't you simply define this and store in a variable and call there directly? Why do I want to write like this? Okay, so in this case you are avoiding actual code. If you see that, you need not write this step, find element by xpath. So how novice it is for people who have not experienced anything in automation, they have to simply write xpath equals to this, and they have to give this annotation. Automatically it creates like this. Okay, so we are giving name of this as preferences, because if you want to call this particular step in our actual test, we should call with one name, right? One reference. That reference name we are defining as preferences. So in my actual test, when I say preferences, this will get executed. Okay, so this is just giving a name to this particular line. So this resembles this particular step. So if you are working on iOS, you can simply say iOS FindBy. Okay, so move your cursor and you will get iOS FindBy. Okay, it's up to you. So if you are working on Android, you can say Android FindBy. And this is for just calling to our actual, this is variable which actually takes this value, which is nothing but this. Okay, so see how user friendly it is. You need not write and remember anything. Simply pass xpath equals to and give one name to it. It automatically forms like this. Okay, fine. Now let me go back and create one more xpath from my test. Okay, when I click on this, next step is like preferences page. So that means we are not in home page now. So I want to click on this preference dependencies which belongs to this page, right? So you can go and create one more method here. Okay, so for clicking on this particular item. So I'm just for real time I'm showing with different classes, but we will just define in one class only. Okay, let me write it here. So when you are working in practical, so each file you will have some 40 to 50 page objects, so you want to differentiate page by page. But here we are just only using one element, right? In home page we are not touching anything. So let's define it here, or okay, fine. Let me go back and show you actual thing only. I don't want you to confuse again. Okay. So preferences. Copy the same code here and place it here. Okay. So go to basics and take this particular text and come to where is that preferences, and paste it here. Okay, and how do you want to call this? You can say as dependencies, something like that. Okay, so how you have successfully created something like find element by dot xpath, and you have done this. All right, so in the similarly you can create id, xpath and class name. Okay, so we will just define these two steps and see first how it is working. Okay, and thereafter we can continue and do all this, right? So in the next lecture let's continue our discussion on this.